When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. The field of psychiatry only has a hammer. All they have are meds. Childhood bipolar, sensory integration disorder, ADD, ADHD. So now they give them another medicine to deal with the side effects. And then the next medicine has another side effect. Before you know it, you have kids who are 5 and 6 and 7 who are on 6 and 7 different medications. Our children do not have any blood chemistry that's different than the children of 50 years ago. And what has changed radically is how we deal with negative behaviors. Tantrums, doesn't listen, throwing things, hitting, biting. And these kids don't need pills, they need parents. Parents need new parenting tools. That's what my book is all about. It is extremely effective. In some rare instances, a need for medication. I'm not against medication. I'm definitely not against medication. Medication can do wonders. But I'm basically saying that for most children who are out of control, medication is not the answer. That with very, very few exceptions, the answer basically is teaching parents how to be better parents, and that's what my book is all about.
The child taking the medicine has additional problems. There can be motoric kinds of side effects for these drugs. All drugs have side effects. All drugs are essentially systemic toxins. They are toxic.
When you're in this situation, you're so emotionally involved with it that you're looking for answers, and typically the answers that you hear all the time now are medication. There's something wrong with your child, something's wired wrong, you need to medicate them, and our instincts were the same. Oh, there must be something wrong with her. She has an allergy, or she has attention deficit disorder. You know, all the things that you think about as a parent because you hear them.
All good behavior seems to be learned, and all bad behavior somehow is evidence of psychopathology, a disorder, a disease in some cases. And Jack points that out, that this is, when you stop and look at it objectively, it makes no sense.
You know, the books out there for the past 50 years have been teaching parents to reward the very behaviors that drive them crazy. We're told that the biter needs the most comfort. Or we're told when a child makes you furious, don't get furious, get curious. In other words, we have books out there which teach parents to play therapist following negative behaviors.
I often refer to talk as the procedure that wrecked 1 million lives. The more we talk, it doesn't help. In many cases, you can look at it as active harm.
When she started having these behaviors of like running, totally blowing us off when we were talking to her, like ignoring you like you're not even in the room, and really enjoying the confrontation, whether it be positive or negative attention. I'm thinking, what's wrong with this child?
And if we're going to spend half an hour, 2 hours a night talking about why you don't want to go to bed every night, it'll become the routine of talking about why you don't want to go to bed. And we won't get any closer to understanding why, which theoretically is our goal. And quite honestly, I'm not sure we need to understand why you don't want to go to bed. We need to figure out what helps you actually do that.
Parents are taught to give their love, their attention, their time for hitting, biting, throwing things, tantruming, and lo and behold, those behaviors get worse.
These parents have been loving their kids into behaving badly. If that was going to work, it would have by now.
What Azerrad is trying to advertise and advocate is that there exists on the side a game plan that can be followed by the average parent without going to medical school, by anybody confronted with these kinds of child problems, and it will work successfully, and you won't need them. I mean, 90% of the time you won't need the medications.
Children define grown-upness in terms of not listening, being defiant. You're not the boss over me. I can say no now. I'm a separate person. You can't control me. I'm a separate person, and that shows I'm a big boy or a big girl. And I teach parents how to redefine grown-upness in terms of being a caring human being.
It was really more about our relating to her. And more, I felt like he was kind of fixing us in some semblance of the way. You went in there looking for one thing, and you got it, but you got it in a totally different way than you expected it. He was helping us to learn how to relate better to our child in these situations.
The parents are part of the stimulus setting that Jack talks brilliantly about, as a matter of fact. The parents are the ones who are setting up the conditions for the occurrence of the child's behavior. If it's not the parents, it's the schools, it's the aunt, it's the extended family. It's something in the child's environment, for example, that is frustrating him and causing some of the problem behavior.
Essentially, what parents need to do is to teach the fourth R, relationship skills.
You know, when we start teaching young children to say words like, I love you, the meaning and the feeling isn't there. They learn the words. Say it enough times in the context of a hug from mom or dad, and there'll be feeling and meaning that come to be attached to it.
What it boils down to is I change the child's world. And for the child who's 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, the parents are their primary world.
One of the most important things to understand is, for most particularly young kids, the most important reinforcer that exists in their lives is the interaction of mom and dad.
He was showing us a very simple way to solve an issue consistently, which we just couldn't come up with because we were so in the middle of it all and so exasperated with our emotions with it. And it made sense, but we just needed someone to point us in the right direction.
We need to help get kids good at doing those kind of things and valuing doing those things because it is in their long-term interest. And teaching that, shaping that, is really a critical part of Jack's book.
Wherever it comes from, behavior is the most important thing in the world, because more young people die of behavioral misadventures or become disabled because of behavioral misadventures than from all diseases combined. That's a statement of fact.
So the very first time I stopped and recognized her behavior, I can't recall exactly what it was, but I remember her reaction. She turned around and immediately came over and hugged me. And I was like, whoa, it was right there and then. And that was at the very beginning, the very first time. And then we just continued from there.
And even within weeks, you see some changes. And surely within 4, 5, 6, or 7 weeks, there can be radical changes. And often, these children who change, I have never laid eyes on. I have never seen these children, and yet they've changed. I've changed the world of that particular child. Rather than that child being in therapy with me 1 hour a week playing games, that child's in therapy at home with mom and dad where it really counts for 10, 20, 30 hours a week.
She was changing because we were changing.
Parents are my clients. I teach them how to relate to their children in ways that will make them a better parent and in ways that will make for a child who will be happy.
We want a good relationship with our child. We want our home to be a safe and happy place of growth, and we didn't feel like that was the case until we used these methods. And it did brighten our future.